Hi, my name is Shona Micklejohn, and today I will be talking you through a presentation concerned with the pay disparity between BAME and white workers in senior positions, paying particular attention to women. So, measuring and understanding the pay gap. The pay gap is the difference between the average earnings of all Black, Asian and other minority ethnicity employees and the average earnings of all white employees. The gap is expressed as a percentage of white employee earnings. So the gap is predominantly caused by the lack of BAME people in top positions. Just 4.6% of the UK's most powerful roles are held by BAME people, even though these people make up 14% of the population. And it's also important to note that only 10 of the 51 BAME people that make up these top positions are women. So, is the acronym really effective? So, stating that there is a BAME pay gap would be a generalisation, as the BAME acronym considers both Black and Asian individuals. However, some of the highest paid people in the UK are Chinese and Indian, hence the need for an in-depth analysis of the BAME pay gap. However, despite the highest paid people being Chinese and Indian, these people make up a small proportion because the overall BAME pay gap in London is still 23.8%. Also, it's not that effective because the acronym does not alone consider the fact that Black women are the most disadvantaged amongst the whole group. Black women are paid 38% less than a white man and 46% less when the woman is pregnant. So overall, the BAME acronym is a generalisation, as each group of people that fall under the acronym are affected differently by salary disparity, so not all face the same degree of challenges. So, the topic is mainly relevant today because huge volumes were generated following the murder of George Floyd, creating a larger than ever Black Lives Matter movement. Because this movement happened during the pandemic, emphasis was placed on the role social media had to play on making change. Now, more than ever, there is really no excuse to not get involved. The platforms provide education and petition sharing. Petition sharing makes it more possible for public demands to be heard in Parliament. The petition that declared that companies with 250 plus employees should provide an ethnicity pay gap raised more than 100,000 signatures and therefore was taken to Parliament. Currently, 95% of companies that PwC surveyed do not create an ethnicity pay gap. This is set to change really because of public voice. COVID-19 highlighted the BAME people are overrepresented in the key workers category, which means they are expected to work through a pandemic and possibly die for a country that do not prioritise them, as many stated that they had lost support from the government. And Black women in particular have borne the brunt of meeting rising care needs during the pandemic, providing unpaid care for children, friends and family. So, why are there inequalities? One of the main reasons as to why BAME people are restricted from earning top salaries is because of occupational segregation. For example, Asian workers make up a large percentage of software developers, which is a really high paid job. And Black and African workers, on the other hand, make up a large percentage of vocational nurses, probation officers and social workers who have a significantly lower median salary. It is also important to note that these people have less chance of having job progression as it's in the public sector. Racial stereotypes such as Asians are good at math are a contributing factor to the reason why people do not apply for certain jobs. A Football Association chairman, Greg Clark, unnecessarily highlighted the fact that the majority of people in IT are Asian. And a football agent made a comment about Greg Clark's statement. He said that if it is comments like these that set back Asian kids from aspiring to be footballers. For Black women, they face unfair expectations, having to maintain a high work ethic, yet still this is never translated into higher wages because they are not perceived as fitting the traditional, typically male, standard of success. All of this creates demand characteristics whereby individuals are only performing to the extent in which they are expected to. So, another reason why there are inequalities is because of education. Privately educated people have a better chance when it comes to gaining top positions. In fact, privately educated people make up 39% of top positions. BAME people make up only 29% of the pupils at these private schools. This could be due to the fact that 6% of the headship at these private schools are BAME. Again, proving that there is a lack of BAME people in top positions. So to put things into perspective, the lowest paid people in the UK are Bangladeshi, earning just over £4,500 every 12 weeks, which is a term at a private school. And this term costs over £100 more than what they earn in that 12 weeks, meaning that these people are actually restricted from the very start. Another reason is because of the representation of BAME people in the media. BAME people are currently represented in the media as criminals, unemployed and in poverty. Such a representation creates a stigma and/or enhances negative social stereotypes, making recruiters believe that these people only possess negative qualities. Whether this is subconscious or not, they will use this as a decision maker in hiring, especially when these stereotypes are ingrained within them. There is an extreme lack of BAME people in the media. Just 13% of staff at the 5 major media organisations are from BAME backgrounds. When we switch on our televisions and all we see are white males, it ingrains the notion in us that these people are the kinds of people that we should admire and look up to. This leads us on to the fact that there is a lack of role models both in the media and in the workplace. Where there are a lack of role models, the workplace can seem hostile and people will feel insecure when applying for jobs. An article finds that the lack of role models is a reason for why BAME people are not applying for jobs, as having people understand your own experiences in the workplace can hugely motivate people to apply for similar positions. But if people aren't applying for these jobs due to lack of role models, then they are automatically restricted from the managerial roles, as a lot of people do hire and promote internally. So, the pay gap obviously creates a lot of implications for HR. It is HR that hire people, so it is therefore their responsibility to hire with fairness, though not for the sake of tokenism. Tokenism refers to employing someone to make the organisation's image look better. Another issue is that there can be genuine reasons why a white British person is more qualified for the job. Those that are new to the UK may have qualifications and work experience obtained abroad which aren't recognised in the UK. Therefore, there is a need for all organisations to implement a system that translates these qualifications. Without this, the HR team will struggle to see who is appropriately qualified for the job. HR also have to deal with the grievances and disciplinary. A study found that 70% of BAME women face racism, discrimination, racial prejudice and/or bias in the workplace, and this can be a reason as to why they may leave a job and never get that promotion in the first place. Such an issue can be resolved by strict rules and regulations being enforced that will reduce racism. This refers to the control aspect of Robin's characteristics of organisational culture and is something in which all organisations should adhere to. So, unconscious bias is a social stereotype and is explained as one of the main reasons for the lack of diversity. It can be extremely difficult to identify, and it takes someone with a different perspective to identify such a bias. However, if an organisation is only hiring people like them, it can go unnoticed, and if it isn't identified, then there will be no change. Hiring managers will most likely hire those who look similar. Decision makers believe that these are the kinds of people that will drive the same good results. A study found that women of colour are most likely to be hired by managers of their own race. And unfortunately, black employees hold just 1.5% of senior roles, and white people make up 84% of human resource managers, thus decreasing their chances from the very start of the recruitment process. Due to unconscious bias, 20% of 540 UK female BAME job seekers altered their name in applications, and almost all who changed their name reported a higher level of callbacks from potential employers, which restricts them from ever attaining high-level job positions. Some job applications do not ask for names as a form of positive action. However, this takes away a person's identity and should not have to happen. All employers should be bothered about the applicants. They should not be bothered about the applicant's name, as the ethnic background does not determine ability. So, positive action refers to certain measures that are put in place to ensure that those who are generally underrepresented are supported during recruitment and promotion. For example, PwC believe that the way to achieve greater equality is providing accountability for BAME pay gaps by completing a report. Without this, there will be damage to reputation and culture of the organisation. Diversity should be made part of the corporate culture and hiring only those who comply with such a culture. This is related to the direction component of Robin's organisational culture, as the company will set clear objectives, those being revolved around diversity and inclusion. An industry example that used positive action was the Premier League. They announced a new initiative whereby 6 BAME coaches will be given the chance to go on a work placement scheme in order to increase the number of BAME coaches. So, the Parker Review is something in which is taking positive action. The Parker Review pushes FTSE 100 firms to appoint at least one non-white board level director to help change statistics like this. 6 out of the 158 managers at John Lewis are people of colour. John Lewis is a PLC, meaning that their reports are to be made public once the law passes that companies with more than 250 employees have to provide an ethnicity pay gap report. John Lewis's salary inequality will be brought to light, and the transparency will hopefully bring justice. However, the counter-argument to this is that one more non-white person at a managerial level really is not significant enough, and the aim to just increase the company's equality stats is positive discrimination. BAME people should not just be a statistic, and we would not want for companies that appointed this one non-white member to a board level position to believe that they have done their job in tackling inequality, because that just simply is not the case. So just briefly touching on Robin's organisational culture again, it is really important that companies adopt certain components of this model in order to help combat the pay gap. When considering the reward system, which refers to the degree to which reward and promotions are based on employee performance and criteria, currently 31% of women believe that they have been unfairly denied promotion at work, which is a form of discrimination. Organisations should ensure that employees are rewarded for the quality of their work they provide and not based on the colour of their skin. As discussed earlier, Black pregnant women are the most disadvantaged group in the BAME pay gap. Pregnant women should be given the same opportunity for awards and promotions despite having to take time off work for maternity leave, and should be provided with additional support so that they have the opportunity to qualify for the promotion. This is just another example of ways in which companies can help combat the pay gap. We have come a long way, but not far enough. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and goodbye. These are just my bibliography.